the executive director of the Society of Collision Repair Specialists, or SCRS, the national trade association that through its direct membership and affiliate partners represents more than 6,000 repair businesses and nearly 60,000 industry professionals. So glad to have somebody like this guy on our side. I wouldn't want him as an enemy. Aaron Schulenburg.
Oh man, you guys are far too kind. Can I just say, what you have done here with this is amazing. Like I am all riled up right now from Josh and Mike and everybody else you've had today. Like this is a really special event for the industry, and I want to thank both of you for your work that goes into it.
Well, dude, we wanted to get you on here because you don't pull punches, and we love that about you. So let's get into it. Let's hear some of the magic. I'm fired up too. This is so
I was
great.
talking to Aaron, and I was expecting maybe we talk about this thing or that thing, and I got some unexpected feed forward. That's a Mike Jones thing.
There you go, feed forward.
So I understand you just returned from the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago's annual Automotive Insight Symposium. I never even heard of this thing. What is this thing all about?
I'll tell you what. So this role gives me some of the most amazing opportunities to do things that I never look. If anybody is on this call right now who is at the start of their career, kind of going like, I'm an estimator, I'm a repair planner, I'm a technician, and going, what does my career look like? What I'll tell you is there are so many opportunities ahead of you to do things that you never would have thought that you would have had the ability to do. So I got back from this is actually the 32nd annual event that the Federal Reserve has held for their Automotive Insight Symposium. And I was just so blown away by the quality of the presentations and the diversity of the perspectives. So this is basically a program that included people from the Federal Reserve banks, economists, leaders in automotive publications, insurance research organizations, regulators, consumer advocates, and people at an automaker level that are like CFOs and SVPs and very high up within the organizational chain with these automakers, all kind of working to exchange ideas and explore and better understand what's happening in the automotive ecosystem. I was very fortunate to be there to present along with Doug Heller, who leads the insurance division for the Consumer Federation of America. Wow. And one of the policy analysts from the Chicago Fed.
These are educated people that use really long words that I don't know how to spell.
And somehow I got in that mix alongside of them. But yeah, you know, it's easy to like look around and go, you know, you've got the CFO for GM sitting in front of you while you're giving this presentation, and that it's an intimidating room. You know, these aren't analysts that are looking at insurance challenges through spreadsheets and aggregate loss ratios. They're wanting to understand the system and the industry through the eyes of the business participants, through repairers, through the consumer experience, and they want to understand the realities. And so I felt very fortunate to be able to represent our industry there in such a unique way. We got to talk a bit about topics that we all talk a lot about: ADAS complexity and pushback on safety inspections and calibration requirements, mixed material vehicle construction, and how that changes how we approach repairs, and the training investments that so many of the businesses who are on today are making to be able to safely and properly repair modern vehicles and be able to kind of share those stories. They aren't abstract concepts, right? These are realities that often result in tension in the claims and repair process for the consumer, who ultimately ends up either assuming that added cost or being in the middle of a frustrating experience, right? So it also let us talk in this venue about the rise in customer pay claims. It let us talk about, I made a comment in the chat about Mike's spot on. There is a lot more customer pay claims, but there's also a growth in out-of-pocket responsibility. And I don't think that every shop is distinguishing those as two separate things. There's a difference between a customer who goes, I'm insured and choosing to pay for my claim out of pocket because I'm afraid of what's going to happen, versus a customer who is filing a claim and becomes responsible for something above and beyond the deductible that they chose when they purchased that policy. Those aren't the same, and I think we need to do a better job of distinguishing those and tracking those and being able to communicate on those well.
I agree.
So it was also interesting because you were talking with Sean about the right to appraisal, and that came up as part of the conversation. The policy analyst who was doing our interview brought up the legislation, the broader legislation he's seeing around RTA, and asking a bit about it. And we were able to talk a bit about how reactive that is to that process being removed out of policies, that consumer protection kind of being erased, and then the advocacy work that goes into reinforcing it, standing up for the industry, standing up for the consumer, going back and addressing it in the states that have been successful in doing that, and the states that are actively working on trying to address that for their consumer. So I'd just say I wanted to share this because I don't think everybody always knows the places where their organizations are advocating for them, that they're representing their voice. And I think this is a really important one when you've got very leading, news organizations sitting in a room, you've got regulators sitting in a room, you've got very high level individuals who are looking at our role in affecting the economy. I think it's great to be able to tell our story, and it's important to be able to have groups that can be there and do that.
You feel like more of us in the collision industry need to attend events like this?
Listen, here's what I'll say. I don't know if more need to attend. I'm actually going to put, all of these were videoed, and I'll put in the chat when we're done here, I'll put a link to those videos so anybody who wants to go check it out can. I found it fascinating to sit and listen through economists talk about things like trade policy and tariffs impact on, and what it really looks like around policy. So I think there's a lot of interesting stuff there. I got a lot of value out of being there. I think it's more important that our industry have a voice in those rooms than anything else.
What is it going to take to get us a voice, like to get a stronger voice? I look at the lobbyists that the insurance companies have, and we just pale in comparison. Like, how do we get a bigger, broader voice? How do we get heard, Aaron? It seems like you have your finger on the pulse of this. I'd love to know your perspective.
Yeah, so it's a great question, and maybe a segue to the next thing that I wanted to share a little bit about, because I think that voice becomes very important. And I think people undervalue how important their voice is in relationship to thinking that there needs to be something bigger. So let me talk about like some of our work at the federal level. And I'll give a little background to just set the stage for it. SCRS became involved in conversations, in the federal conversation, because of concerns about how our industry and our members' voices were being used to support things like the Repair Act. And from my vantage point, you had organizations that largely represented the aftermarket parts lobby or insurance groups telling members of Congress that the industry needs this Repair Act, otherwise independent businesses are going to be shut out, and then turning and telling the industry, if you don't support this, you're going to lose all your ability to do business, right? You're going to be shut out. And I think there's a bit of fear mongering in there. But I think
so. If you only read the headline, you would be like, "Yeah, I better support this thing."
And I think it becomes very easy to go, "Okay, well, I should probably click this button and support this thing if that's the case." But I also don't think that's how our members see it. And I think same with the 300 plus people who are on this call. You're talking about a lot of businesses who've done an amazing job of investing in their ability to perform proper repairs, to utilize the tools that are available to them, to get the information and resources that they need to serve their customers well. So we started having these conversations at the federal level going, well, hang on, our industry isn't being locked out. We're actually very capable. And I actually think we have a closer relationship with the automaker than we ever have, with access to information and resources and all these things. But a lot of these groups that are telling you that we're being locked out are also making it harder for us to deliver proper repairs to the customer through some of these economic restrictions that they're putting on our customers, right? So as we're talking to offices in DC and going, our members are telling us that's not the problem, this is, they're going, well, what would you support if you don't support this? And so we worked on this alternative solution in the Safe Repair Act. And I'm not going to go through all the differences between those right now, but I think what I've witnessed in that is something that's really powerful. And it's the voices in our industry, the individual businesses who've said, I'm going to write a letter, I'm going to write an op-ed, I'm going to reach out to a publication, I'm going to reach out directly to a policymaker. I want to explain what safe and proper repairs actually look like in my shop. I want to tell my story of what makes it harder to accomplish. And those messages, they aren't scripted, they're authentic, and they carry weight because they're just grounded in this lived experience that everybody who's on this shares.
That's so good.
In lead up to, I think there's an important story here. In lead up to the House CMT subcommittee hearing just a couple of weeks ago, one of our members shared a letter with a House member and asked them to support the Safe Repair Act. And their letter prompted a reply from the office. And their letter actually caused that office to share it with other offices. And our shop found out. And they were like, this is so amazing. They read it, they responded, they shared it with somebody else, and it came back to me through a secondary channel. And I remember just thinking how motivating that is for that shop to realize that their singular opinion, their voice, their one and only like view, like it mattered. And so I think if anybody's looking for, I don't know, a lesson in this, here's what I think it is. I think while there's power in a collective action, it's made up of individual impact. I think each shop and each technician and each owner, each thoughtful message that they create, it just takes that one communication to make a difference in somebody's understanding. And I think advocacy isn't about volume. It's about credibility and clarity. It's about sincerity. It's about being a real voice. And our industry has all of those things when there's people who are empowered to speak.
Yeah. Customer 15.
That stuff is so good, Aaron. Sorry, somebody's.
We got it. Yep.
We got him shut down.
Yeah, it's good.
So we got a minute left here, buddy. But thank you so much for your advocacy and everything you're doing. It's just amazing, and you said everything so eloquently.
And your passion, his passion just shines through, Aaron. We can't thank you enough for you showing up and fighting for the shops every day, man. It's so inspiring.
Thank you. Thanks for what you guys do. Thanks for giving us a platform to share a bit about it. I'll share a little bit more in the chat when we get off, but appreciate everything.
And let's be sure to let people know how SCRS can help them. They've got amazing health benefits and different benefits that shop owners can take advantage of. So get involved with SCRS if you're not already. Thank you, Aaron.
Wonderful platform. Thanks for sharing, Aaron. Glad to have you with us, brother.
Appreciate you guys.
Oh, man, that gets me all kinds of fired up. Hey, speaking of getting fired up, I've got